Taking your call straight out to Gene Casares at the courthouse. Gene, explain to me and explain to the viewers exactly what the controversy is about the gunshot powder residue and stippling or tattooing. Go ahead.
It's all about the distance of the shot, and does this align itself with George Zimmerman's theory and his statements? All right, Vincent DeMaio, famous forensic pathologist, testified that the shot was a contact shot with the hoodie, with the clothing, and it was an intermediate shot 2 to 4 inches from the skin of Trayvon Martin. In other words, Trayvon Martin could have been over George Zimmerman, and the weight of his hoodie was down, and the gun was right next to the hoodie.
Stop. Come to me, please, New York. What we mean by a contact wound is the gun is touching his heart. It's touching. That's contact. It's making contact. That's the easy way to remember it. Intermediate, there's a way to do that when you're coming back. It's like very similar to how they talked about a water hose. The spray gets bigger, but when you come back, the gunshot residue is coming out of the gun, and it diffuses in a greater area, all right? Contact, you'll get a very small area of stippling or intense concentrated gunshot powder residue and a small area around the entrance wound. Pull it back, you get a bigger spray of gunshot residue. You pull it back past 36 inches, you don't get anything. 3 feet, it's over. Oh, okay, you can sit down. Go ahead, Gene.
And so what the defense wants to show by this is that George Zimmerman was fighting for his life with Trayvon over him, and the gun then shot right next to and touching the hoodie and then went into the right chest.
Okay, straight out to Frank Taffy, good friend of George Zimmerman. You told me a while back, Taffy, that there was going to be a big bombshell, and that had to do with the tattooing or stippling. I don't see Taffy. Let me see Taffy. There he is. The stippling or the concentrated gunshot residue on the body and on the hoodie. And you said that the only thing this could show is that Trayvon Martin was on top of Zimmerman, so he's the bad guy, he's the attacker. But then today on cross-examination, and it's an excellent medical examiner, DeMaio, I know him very well, but he had to admit that it could also be Trayvon trying to pull back. Could it not, Mr. Taffy?
Absolutely not. He also went on, first of all, I thought Dr. DeMaio was very unbiased. Even though he was paid by the defense, his answers, even to Mr. De La Ronda, were spot on. And it's still
Taffy, let me try to get you back in the middle of the road. If you could just focus on the question I asked you, and that is, under cross-exam, isn't it true that DeMaio said, couldn't it be, based on the residue, the gunshot residue, that Trayvon Martin was actually pulling back? Did I hear you say sure?
It's preposterous that he was pulling back. And I told you on your show, I shared with you, that Trayvon had grass stains on the front of his knees, on the khakis. That still wasn't brought up, and that's in evidence. Let's look at the facts here. It was clear
Mr. Taffy,
when it was clear that John.
Do you have children?
I have one left, yeah.
Okay. Then you know that people that play in the dirt get very dirty.
No, Nancy, you said
that could have been from anything. He could have fallen, he could have skid, he could have been on his knees at any point.
No, those were fresh grass stains that night. And I want to answer to your question if he had fell down on the sidewalk. Well, if that was true, he would have had abrasions on the inside of his hands.
I didn't say fall down on the sidewalk.
Said, maybe you did. I think you did before, what I remember. But going back to your question, he never pulled away. It was an intermediate shot, as I shared with you before on your show, that the gravity of the hoodie made contact with the muzzle of the gun. And it was clear it was not a contact shot that the state said in opening, because as I shared with you, that particular gun, the Kel-Tec 9, when it's placed flat up against the body, the slide would move back, therefore the gun, preventing the gun from firing. It's called out of battery.